This program was made possible in part by grants from the Ford Foundation and the Robert Sterling Clark Foundation, Incorporated.
Many centuries ago, this wild jungle in Central America was the home of a great Indian civilization, the Maya. This man is a modern Maya, José del Carmen. He's climbing this tree in order to photograph a Maya temple. José del Carmen has helped the makers of this program to find and record for the first time on motion picture film a masterpiece of architecture built by his ancestors. From his aerial perspective, José films a famous temple that had been lost in jungle oblivion for over 1,000 years. It is a strange story. As the jungle foliage is cleared, Temple B of Rio Bec is revealed. At the top of the towers appear two enigmatic masks, suggesting the larger enigma of how a powerful civilization can suddenly collapse. It is a question we might well consider today. The discovery of this lost temple will unfold as part 2 of our program. A lost temple rediscovered is only one clue to the mystery of a civilization that lost everything. Well, not quite everything. There is understanding to be gained from human survivors, the Maya living today. Their way of life sheds some light on the ancient Maya, those who lived in splendor long ago. These proud, priestly figures were the leaders of a great civilization, the Maya. 1,000 years before Columbus came from Europe, they lived and ruled in hundreds of ceremonial centers throughout the jungles of Central America. These Indians were not savages. They led their people beyond the simple village culture into the complexity of civilized life. In their classic period, between 300 and 900 A.D., did they not have reason to be confident that they and their civilization would continue on its progressive way forever? They had beaten back the jungle and built massive temple cities. When Europe was in the Dark Ages, these most civilized of original Americans instituted a calendar more accurate than the one we use today. The Maya invented the concept of zero, developed a hieroglyphic writing system, and could calculate numbers into the millions. Maya astronomers could accurately predict eclipses and believed they could foretell the future. Until the calamity they feared most happened, the classic Maya civilization stopped. On what fragile threads does the life of any civilization depend? Must it die? Tantalizing questions reach out to haunt us all. Clues to the mystery of their splendid past can be found among the Maya people living today. This place is Momostenango, which means place of the altars. These Maya people are celebrating Huachakip Bats, the first day of the ancient 260-day religious calendar. They celebrate with prayers, burning incense, and the sacrificing of pottery, which is broken around the sacred fires. In their religion, the beginning of a sacred year has always been critical to the Maya. Prayers offered at this time are thought most likely to be granted. Today, Maya farmers plant their crops as they always have. The women make pottery without using a wheel, and they use the ancient hip-strap loom to produce weaving that has always been magnificent. They launder their clothes and take daily baths in mountain streams and thermal springs. Water has always been precious to them, so difficult to come by during the dry season, which lasts for half the year. Then they carry their weaving to market. On their heads, they carry their weaving, their crops, all sorts of things to market. This is a Maya market. They have come from little villages. Living in the modern nations of Mexico, Guatemala, and Honduras, there are 2 million Maya Indians. There are specific groups among the Maya. And in this market in southern Mexico, most of the Indians are chamulas, or sinacantecos, who, like their ancestors, prefer colorful headdresses, now decorated with bright ribbons instead of the plumage of wild birds. The salt seller, always an important person in the market, still wears the ancient high-backed sandals. An Indian technique of carrying heavy loads is to support the weight by means of a tump line around the forehead. The ancient Maya conceived that each day was a god who would use the tump line to carry in the burden and the beauty of the new day. The Maya today live mostly on the Yucatan Peninsula or in the highlands of Guatemala and southern Mexico. In ancient times, the Maya flourished in a completely different environment, the now uninhabited, hot, lowland jungle called El Petén. Of the many different Indian nations, only the Maya became the masters of this rain forest, this wilderness so hostile to man and yet magnificent. There are blooming orchids of infinite variety and several hundred species of colorful birds, including the oropendula, who raise their young in high-hanging nests. There are plentiful jaguar and other wild cats. There are hundreds of small creatures who must watch out for the boa constrictor. In addition to snakes, there are large and sometimes poisonous insects and caterpillars. The monkeys are shy and hard to see. In their own leafy world are spider monkeys and the larger howler monkeys with their haunting cries. The jungle had a stimulating influence upon Maya thought and imagination. The Maya mind could move freely from this natural world into ideas of the supernatural. The serpent became a rain god in their religious beliefs. They also believed that the sun was swallowed up at night by the earth god and became a jaguar, moving silently through the darkness of the underworld. How were the Maya able to adjust to this difficult forest environment and rise to a high civilization? This is a question still unanswered. In any case, the Maya became highly organized into city-states. During the classic period, 3 million Maya lived in hundreds of population centers, including the city of Yaxchilan. Situated on the Usumacinta River in the Petén, Yaxchilan is reachable only by plane or by dugout canoe. The caretaker and his family are now the only inhabitants of this once great city. They guide Gillette Griffin, who is a Maya explorer and curator of pre-Columbian art at Princeton University.
Look, here goes the snake. Look, we've got something here.
At Yaxchilan, Griffin wants to examine some of the carved monuments which can be found lying face down on the ground.
Wait a minute. I see something. I see something very interesting. Very interesting, with a raking light. Sí, mira. Sí, bonito. Okay, bueno. That is beautiful. Okay. Palacio.
This is the palace, the largest building at Yaxchilán.
Huge building with a roof comb. Oh, look at the side of that roof comb. Oh, fantastico. Magnifico. Look way up at the very top of the roof comb. There's a great figure seated on a bench up there with one leg still in place. Never seen a picture of that upper figure.
The figure on the roof comb could represent a ruler who has been identified as Bird Jaguar. Griffin wants to inspect the lintels above the doorways of the building.
Ooh, mira. Oh, this is beyond belief.
The lintels are yielding historical information. This carving shows Bird Jaguar's accession to power in 757 A.D., at the age of 34. Scholars are learning more about Bird Jaguar and other historical Maya figures through interpretation of the hieroglyphic writing. Archaeologist Ian Graham carries forward the effort to reconstruct the Maya past, seeking evidence that may someday explain their rise and fall. Half the year, he works in the Peabody Museum at Harvard University, preparing detailed drawings of monuments for his major work, a corpus of Maya inscriptions. This opus is expected to run to more than 3,000 plates and 50 volumes. But before Graham can draw a Maya monument for the permanent record, he has first of all to find it. This means that the other half of Ian Graham's year has to be spent seeking out lost monuments, exploring the vast wilderness of the El Petén jungle. In northern Guatemala, Graham travels up the river San Pedro Martir in search of a lost Maya city called El Perú. It has never been explored by an archaeologist. To get there means a river trip, wild and beautiful, going upstream many hours, far from the nearest village or house, into the most remote part of the jungle. Graham's companions are woodsmen, modern Maya who know the region of El Perú from hunting trips. After traveling many hours, they know exactly where to push the canoe ashore. They proceed to slash a clearing for the campsite.
Muy grande, sí. Con cuñas pequeñas.
Palmetto is cut as thatch for shelter. A deer is quickly hunted down to provide supper. Coffee simmers on the campfire, and there is water to drink from a vine called bejuco de agua. After venison, tortillas, and beans, hammocks are slung with mosquito netting to attempt a night's sleep. The next morning's job is to find what remains of the ancient city of El Perú. It is dense and baffling in the bush. But after 2 days searching for El Perú, Graham sees a significant stone. With an expert eye, he knows that under the green moss, this stone will yield classic inscriptions. Graham realizes that El Perú was a very large ceremonial center. This monument was once 20 feet high, but has been cut in half. Looters have hacked it to pieces to trade in the illegal and highly profitable international art market. After further clearing, Graham finds even greater evidence of destruction by looters. Piracy, for the sake of art dealers and collectors, is decimating the wealth of the Maya heritage and hampering the efforts of scholars in reconstructing the Maya past. a shattered prize. The face that Graham puts together has the serenity and delicacy that mark the Maya ideal of beauty. What happened to cause the collapse of Maya civilization and the splendor of it? Most of what is left of Maya history amounts to a scattered body of fragments in stone, images of lost loveliness and grace. Graham is salvaging bits of history carved in stone. Like pieces in a puzzle, they may someday fit together to solve a mystery, to tell a story. Selecting one monument, Graham begins the meticulous work of scraping away the moss to reveal the inscriptions. He is working against the destructive effect of time and men, who can sometimes be murderers. On a previous trip, Graham's companion was shot to death by looters. Cleaning one stone can take several days. Then Graham prepares a pencil drawing, precisely to scale, of the carving on this broken monument. The figure represents a ruler. The face-forward perspective is unusual in Maya art. The sliced-off top with the ornate headdress was probably taken out by the looters. But where are the legs and feet of the figure? Graham believes this massive stone may be the bottom part. The problem is to turn it over. Graham applies his engineering knowledge to the problem of turning the stone, and he has come equipped with a winch. Gradually, the bottom part is turned, revealing the standing legs and feet of the figure. For further documentation, Graham takes photographs of the monument with a powerful electronic flash. And at night, he uses a generator to make light. In this way, he can draw fine details, which show up better on the raking light from a handheld source. In the Peabody Museum at Harvard, several months later, Graham refers to his field drawings and photographs in completing ink drawings of the El Peru monuments. Graham's collection of drawings and inscriptions will help scholars to decipher Maya writing. Maya hieroglyphs are slowly yielding their secrets. About 1/3 of the glyphs are at least partly understood.
The left-hand edge has been destroyed, but what remains of it, 14 kins, 14 days, ending on a 5-ish day of the week, is enough to place the date quite securely.
The Maya could express all of their thoughts in writing. This was the most complex written language that evolved in the Americas before Columbus.
Finally, we come to the historical meat of the inscription. There you can see Shield Jaguar, one of the great lords of Yaxchilan. And here he's named as Captor. That glyph means captor of the Lord Ahau, since the main element of his name is an Ahau sign. And the next glyph is the emblem glyph of Yaxchilan, which may be the name of the town or possibly of the dynasty.
How did the Maya, alone among American Indian groups, achieve full literacy and a high civilization throughout the dense jungles of Central America? The mystery of the Maya rise and fall remains, but there is increasing evidence of their brilliant achievements. In 1947, the discovery of a place called Bonampak revealed that the Maya were also master painters of wall-sized murals. Here is a procession of musicians. The drawings are visible enough after 1,200 years that they could be accurately copied in these reproductions by Antonio Tejeda. Here, a decorative banner worn like wings. Here, a fantastic mask. Within the idiom of the flat, frontal Maya style, we see each figure in his costume, attitude, and role in the Maya community. Priests, astronomers, architects, warriors, merchants, artists, musicians. In concept and quality, Bonampak ranks with the greatest mural art in the world. This drawing of the body of a captive suggests the mastery of Renaissance draftsmanship. Mexican archaeologist Victor Segovia was born and raised in the Maya world.
Manuel, fíjate que siempre tienes que sacar.
He identifies with the ancient Maya architects as he directs the excavation of a once great city called Cojunlich.
Lo que siempre les digo, se pueden llevar algún dato.
Segovia directs a large crew, most of whom are modern Maya, as he excavates a huge ceremonial court built by their ancestors. In his work, Segovia concentrates on the intent of the ancient Maya architects. The ancient Maya are always on his mind, the Mayitas, as he affectionately calls them.
I am very fond of the Mayitas because they really had to do very hard work without any method at all, cutting stone one after another because they were afraid of something.
Whether from fear or inspiration, they accomplished wonders without the use of metal tools, or the wheel, or draft animals of any kind.
Bolas!
His helpers have discovered something up there. Segovia goes up to investigate.
There is no logic at all in archaeology. You cannot anticipate what you are going to find.
Segovia plans to excavate Cojunlich as far as it goes. Several thousand years before the Maya became highly civilized, their ancestors inhabited limestone caves that lie beneath the crust of the Yucatan Peninsula. The beginnings of Maya civilization are almost as mysterious as its sudden collapse. Gillette Griffin and archaeologist Jack Eaton are climbing down into this cave called Loltun, looking for evidence that could date back to the formative period more than 2,000 years ago.
Making light over here.
They are searching for man-made carvings.
These things could be quite early. I see something right here that looks like...
These incised lines suggest early attempts to draw fertility symbols or to keep a calendar.
We've got something here. Take a look at the stone.
It's all very tentative, but there is no guesswork in finding this metate, used in this cave by early people in the grinding of their corn into flour. Out of the deep recesses of man's past in the Americas, the stone metate is still used for the purpose of grinding corn, the staple crop. The Maya system of farming corn is called slash and burn. The vegetation of previous years is burned away, and the area put under cultivation is called a milpa. Farmers today still use the ancient technique of planting their corn in holes made with a stick. This Maya farmer lives in the highlands. His name is Hilario Perez, and he prays in the Maya language as he plants his corn. The custom in his village is to plant 5 kernels to a hole. Always 5. Surrounded by his sacred mountains, this man lives in spiritual communion with his ancestors. This is so throughout the Maya world. At San Juan Chamula in southern Mexico, a ritual of purification during corn planting is still practiced according to ancient custom. Thousands of Maya take part in this two-day fiesta. They burn the sacred incense, copal, as a part of the ritual. They dress in ceremonial costumes, cloaks of ocelot or jaguar skin, hats made of monkey fur. They play their own music on handmade instruments. Now they run with banners which have been dipped in the waters of a sacred well. Modern rituals provide insight into the disciplines of ancient times, which included sexual abstinence and self-mutilation. Though self-mutilation is no longer the rule, the men do expect to run on fire as an act of purification. A nod comes from the alcaldes, the ruling body of religious leaders. Now the men come with bundles of twigs. They lay out the kindling in a broad pathway in the middle of the plaza. Then they light the fires. And they run by the hundreds over the field of fire. Their feet, either sandaled or bare, come in direct contact with the flames. To assure the success of the corn crop, the ancient priesthood established rituals of self-sacrifice and purification, which still survive. As the priests would predict, the rains come. The corn grows. Other celebrations and musical processions parallel the ripening of the corn and its harvest. In the Maya home, corn has always been the staple food. Every day, the women of the household take the mano in hand to grind the corn flour on the metate, the ancient stone. They shape the corn paste into the tortilla, which is cooked on the fire and is their bread for every meal. In ancient Maya belief, the gods made man from corn paste into which the heart of heaven breathed life. With corn as the staple food, the center of their existence, corn gods became prominent in the ancient Maya books. Arthur G. Miller, an archaeologist at Yale University, is studying facsimiles of the 4 surviving Maya books. Miller believes that the origin of one of these rare books, called the Madrid Codex, can now be identified. He thinks it must have come from this area, along the Caribbean coast of the Yucatan Peninsula, where the Spaniards first landed and had their first contacts with Maya culture. On a recent trip to this area, Miller searched amid still-standing walls and vaulted rooms. In ruin after ruin, Miller looked for stucco-covered surfaces where there might be signs of wall painting. Finally, he discovered a precious fragment, a drawing of the corn god. The head splitting apart holds a kernel of corn. Returning to Yale University, Miller compares a copy of the figure he discovered on the wall with nearly identical drawings of the corn god in the Madrid Codex. For the first time, the origin of a Maya book is strongly indicated. From these books, particularly the Dresden Codex, scholars are impressed by what the ancient Maya knew of astronomy. Accurate tables of lunar and solar eclipses, the length of the Venus year. Venus was the wasp star and had to be watched most carefully.
This glyph refers to in the guise of or impersonating Venus. You see this thing that looks like the navel of an orange.
Knowledge of Venus, of the sun, of all the heavenly bodies controlled the Maya life cycle. The measurement of time was their principal concern. Carefully aligned monuments and window openings served as fixed points of observation to measure the movements of sun and moon, of the planets and the stars. With what concentration and care they must have watched the heavenly bodies, recorded and counted, conferred and corrected their calendar. With what pomp and flourish they must have prepared the people for an eclipse and other predictable events in the sky. Stone monuments were placed in front of pyramid temples like giant sundials. Thus, the priests could dramatize the course of the sun god Akinchil. Temple 2 at Tikal faces eastward toward the rising sun. Tikal was the largest of Maya cities, and there they built pyramids that thrust high above the treetops to meet the sun. The temples dominate great plazas where the people would assemble. Priestly processions could climb the stairs and disappear into remote chambers, which could have been used for astronomical studies, for religious ceremonies, or the practice of architecture. What ancient Maya drew in stucco this sketch of the temple of the giant jaguar? Tikal's temples reached for the sun, some of them more than 200 feet high. Tikal was the skyscraper city of the ancient world. The Maya built roads to link together their capital cities. This Maya hunter is walking along one of the ancient elevated highways that led out of the rainforest into the dry, scrubby growth of the Yucatan Peninsula. Here, too, the classic civilization flourished. At Coba, at Chichen, Sayil, Chibilchaltún, and many other cities. Here at Uxmal, the Maya, free of the confining rainforest, celebrated open space with an architecture of sweeping lines and smooth surfaces. They set monumental buildings on enormous platforms. The governor's palace is the largest building in the Maya world, with the highest vaulted archways. The Maya emphasized the link between the home dedicated to the gods and the simple home of the peasant, dedicated to family life. The Maya referred their personal concerns to the benevolence of the gods. Woman, the weaver, was under the patronage of Ixchel, the moon goddess, who was her protectress in childbirth. In the highlands of Guatemala and southern Mexico, in hundreds of remote villages, the Maya have a counterpart of the vanished priestly elite, the village shaman, or chiman, as they call him. Every chiman has his bag of mixes, made up of seeds, beans, and bits of quartz. He casts and interprets the mixes, giving people for a fee a divination. The chiman acts as curandero, or curer, when people are ill. The chiman can be a man or a woman. And sometimes acts as village matchmaker. Reading the signs of the mixes, he will tell a mother and a father which girl is most suitable to be selected by their son as a wife. This eligible Maya girl, Susana Calmo, weaves the fabric for her own clothes, and like most Maya women, designs the embroidery of her overblouse, or huipil. Her elegance and style suggest the graceful dancers molded in stucco on the walls at Palenque. Stucco and fine-grained limestone serve the artists of Palenque well. The architecture and art of Palenque are especially fine, comparable to the highest achievements in Greek or Chinese art, Egyptian or Byzantine. Each temple is a jewel in its jungle setting. Beneath the temple of the inscriptions at Palenque, Mexican archaeologist Alberto Ruz made an important discovery. Gillette Griffin investigates.
Lámpara, aquí. That's a beautiful construction, by the way. Beautiful construction.
For 3 years, Dr. Ruz and his workers cleared debris from this massive passageway until they were able to descend 80 feet from the temple above to the base of the pyramid.
Wow.
At the bottom of the stairway, Dr. Ruz discovered a large tomb. Looking closer, he found an immense stone slab. It was a lid that covered the sarcophagus containing a body. Probing further, Dr. Ruz raised the lid, and inside the sarcophagus he found the remains of a great chieftain of the late 7th century, his face covered with a mask of jade mosaic and obsidian eyes. With such a rich burial, this chief was assured of a safe journey into the underworld the Maya envisioned for souls in the afterlife. On ceremonial pots found in many Maya burials, supernatural beings are portrayed who may be the heroes and lords of the underworld. They seem to be speaking and gesturing with the grace and courtliness that must have marked the life of the Maya hierarchy. This pottery had a ceremonial and religious function. Yet because of the masterly draftsmanship, an inner world of legend and fantasy survives. Maya pots are beautiful artifacts by any cultural standard. They are also a crucial element in Maya archaeology because they are among the few materials that can survive in the earth over many centuries. Excavating house mounds in the Yucatan Peninsula is archaeologist Prentice Thomas of the University of Tennessee. As he excavates through a plaster floor, suddenly there is a moment of discovery.
It's right under the plaster floor. Right there, I can see something there now.
Prentice and his wife, Mary Jane, probe carefully.
It might be a skull. It's about the color. Oh, no, it's a pot.
After taking photographs and measurements of the pot in place, they proceed to remove it. Prentice is the first person to touch this pot since it was ritually buried more than 1,000 years ago. In the shape of an owl, the pot is of museum quality. First, it must be analyzed and dated in a laboratory. The main thrust of Thomas's fieldwork in southern Yucatan is in the mapping of a region which still retains the house mounds of its ancient population centers.
As you can see, looking around here, the house mounds are just no more than 20 or 30 meters apart, just completely dotting the landscape. Well, it looks like then we'll just map it. Hello, Eric, can you read me?
In walkie-talkie communication with his helpers, Thomas measures and records the outlines of hundreds of house mounds.
Okay, I'll get the northwest corner down here. Over.
He uses surveying techniques to prepare detailed maps.
Okay, Prentice, this is the northwest corner.
Okay, hang on.
Finishing a day's work, Prentice returns to camp to study his maps, which show something most intriguing. A high density of population in an area which today supports only a few people.
Our mapping and excavation program have made it quite clear that the population was very dense here.
As his maps show, in ancient times, the land was heavily used. There were buildings of all shapes and sizes. With so many inhabitants, there must have been many ceremonial centers. Some of these temples are lost today in the dense forest. Still, other temples have been visited only by loggers, or chicleros, as they are called. Men like Juan Briceño, who search the wilderness to gather chicle sap from the zapote tree. Chicle is the basic material for chewing gum. This area of southern Yucatan, called Rio Bec, is a trackless wilderness. But Juan Briceño is a skilled woodsman. While searching for zapote trees, Juan has explored many Maya ruins. Deep in the jungle, Juan Briceño knows where to find a structure with a facade made up of profiles in stucco of a serpent's head. This structure was first reported in 1912 by two Harvard archaeologists, Raymond Merwin and Clarence Hay.
Pase aquí.
Juan Briceño goes into the Rio Bec forest with Gillette Griffin and Prentice Thomas.
Careful.
Okay.
These finds are incredible.
They want to see a temple that Juan discovered recently, one unknown to archaeologists.
I see it.
At last, they see a structure of considerable size.
It's right in front of us.
Moving in closer, they see two towers with steep stairways leading up to false temples.
It has two towers.
Looking closely at this curious building, Gillette produces a 1912 photograph of a similar building, the legendary Temple B of Rio Bec, a lost masterpiece of Maya architecture. In 1912, Temple B was the prize find of the Merwin and Hay explorations, but no one has been able to find it again. They compare the old photograph with Juan's discovery. Is this the lost Temple B?
I'm not sure there's Temple B at all, but it's nice.
Yeah. I'm certain that it's not.
Prentice and Gillette conclude that this was surely an important Rio Bec structure, but only the towers are still intact. Although similar in many details, it is certainly not Temple B.
Might have been the same architect.
Here on a frontier of Maya exploration, they decide that the elusive Temple B cannot be far away. But where? Not even Juan Briceño knows. Temple B's fame is based on the photographs that Merwin and Hay brought back in 1912, which revealed the building of singular beauty. Aware of the uniqueness of Temple B, Clarence Hay supervised the making of models, which can be seen today in many museums. But it was, in fact, lost, reclaimed by the jungle. Finding Temple B again became an important and haunting challenge. Over the years, many expeditions have tried. All have failed to find it. Now, another expedition is planned to look for Temple B. Griffin plots a tentative course. Instead of heading north, as most expeditions have done, this group will search in an eastern direction into an unknown region. The group includes Andrea Seufert, an artist from the Museum of Anthropology in Mexico City. Andy comes equipped with the greenstone image of the Maya sun god. Holding it over the 1912 photograph, she believes that the stone has magical powers and that its pendulum swings will point the way to Temple B.
It captures vibrations.
But surely more effective than magic stone or magnetic compass, Juan Briseño will lead the way, assisted by his fellow woodsmen to cut trails and with hunter sharp eyes to search for the temple. In this jungle growth, the group could pass within a few yards of the building and still not see it. Exploration here means exposure to extreme heat. Thorny trees, poisonous plants, biting ants, ticks called garrapatas, and walking for miles in an area that has no drinking water during the dry season. A wilderness where even local people have become confused and lost and have died of thirst. A hunter has left this jaguar skull. Traveling straight east, Juan finds his way by recognizing and marking certain trees. To climb a tall tree barefoot and do it quickly is a necessary skill of the chiclero. José del Carmen is the best tree climber in the group. From time to time, he takes off his shoes and scampers up a tall zapote tree.
Quiero.
Sometimes more than 100 feet above the ground.
Oh, mariposa. Fantástico.
No buscamos.
From the treetop, José scans the horizon for any sign of twin towers. José sees no towers, but he reports seeing a high man-made platform about 500 meters to the south. Juan blazes a marker to indicate a turn to the south.
Cosh. Vamos.
The group heads for the platform, calling to one another to keep from getting lost. They climb up onto the ancient platform to try to get a perspective. The ground has been mostly level so far.
Oh, está bien.
From the platform, they see, far off on the horizon line, an odd clump of trees that could conceal a structure such as Temple B. Or it could be a mirage, an accidental clustering of trees.
Dos Torres? Posiblemente es B, huh?
Posiblemente.
The group decides to head for it, whatever it is, on a compass bearing of 76 degrees east-northeast. It is a precipitous descent down from the platform into the forest. The going is rough. It is incredibly hot. They gradually descend into a hollow. They are only halfway to their objective on the horizon. Without seeing it, everyone senses a building ahead. And then...
Parece. Templo B.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Sí. Él es.
El muro. Yeah, that's a building. Edificio. This could be it. I'm pretty sure this is Temple B. Right on it.
Parece Templo B. Dos torres.
Dos Torres, sí, exactamente. It's B. We're on the B.
Oh, yes, the towers.
Of course,
Yes,
of course it's Temple B.
Right. It's beautiful.
Hey, Templo Bay! It's Templo Bay! For Briseño! Caramba!
After 61 years, Temple B has been rediscovered.
Come on, everybody, come on.
The next concern is, what does the front look like? After 61 years, is the beautiful Temple B still intact? Cutting through the thicket to the front of Temple B, they find it completely shrouded in jungle growth. The tall twin towers with masks on top, the steep ornamental stairways, all of the individual features can only be revealed after days of difficult clearing. Late in the afternoon, on the day of discovery, the sun, Quinchil, descends over Temple B. The clearing begins. Most of the big trees had fallen in a forest fire from which the temple was miraculously spared. The subsequent growth of warumba trees is thick and weed-like. The men are bothered by hornets. The nests must be found and put to the torch. Vines that shroud the temple must be carefully removed. It is up to José del Carmen to climb the so-called unclimbable Rio Bec stairs. Is it not possible that priests in ancient times also climbed these stairs? With such a stunt, they could show dominion over the populace and the forces of nature.
Sí, mira.
For 3 days, the men cut and clear heavy growth around and on top of the South Tower. The wonder of the place grows day by day as the forest mantle retreats and the building is exposed.
Un abecedario.
Sí, un abecedario, sí.
Es muy, muy bonito.
Juan and Gillette decide to join Andy inside the building. Removing moss from a stucco wall, Andy has found remarkable drawings. She puts up a layer of clear plastic and traces images cut in stucco that are like sketches taken from life in classic times. 2 men are carrying a Maya lord on a litter. In the background is a pyramid in the style of Tikal.
Oh, there it is.
Prentice Thomas comes in.
Oh, this is just in amazing shape.
He compares the 1912 photograph with Temple B as it appears today.
It's exactly the same as the photograph.
The building is still largely intact.
Fantastic.
The old photograph shows that hardly a stone has fallen in 61 years. Prentice believes that Temple B could easily be restored. There is reason to do so. It is among the finest of Maya buildings. The precision of its stonework, the subtle proportions, the qualities which constitute great architecture at any time, make Temple B rank favorably with any work of ancient architecture in the world. But it seems a strange building to our Western eyes. The steep stairways leading up to stylized temples, the great masks on top, the symmetrical roof combs, all of these details give the building a sculptural quality that suggests a world of fantasy. After 10 days, the clearing is complete. Juan and Gillette are impressed by the masks at the top of the towers. It is then that the religious significance of Temple B begins to suggest itself. It was made to encounter the forces of the rain god, to greet the rising sun. Temple B must have been the stage for great pageantry, where priests would burn incense, create music, wave banners, light fires, and use the entire building to dramatize the rituals. In this hostile jungle, how did the Maya achieve a high civilization? Without metal tools or a wheel, they created this beautiful building that has survived for over 1,000 years. And yet, the great civilization collapsed. Why? The enigma persists. Why did the building of temples throughout the Maya world abruptly cease by 889 A.D.? Long before the Spaniards arrived, the Maya abandoned Temple B. Why? We can only speculate. Was there corruption at the top? Did the people revolt because the labor of building temples became excessive? Was the society swept by a demoralizing loss of faith? Or was the price of food too high because of crop failures or overpopulation? Mysteries. Questions still unanswered. This tough survivor, Temple B, communicates what the quality of their civilization was when the Maya were truly successful, when it all worked. Amid their sacred mountains, the Maya no longer strain and struggle to build heavenly towers out of limestone. When the Moch spreads its lovely white veil over the green mountains, heaven is here. Here, too, the Chiman leads the way into the shrine. It is their temple, built to contain the sacred box, the Caja Real. No one knows what's inside the box. They only know that all that remains to them from their ancestors is the Caja, and that the spirit of the Caja, which they call the Xochitl, is the strongest spirit of all.
This program will be repeated Saturday night at 7 o'clock.